Hello, welcome to the first of my videos showing the techniques and processes used by a modern artist blacksmith. The idea behind these films is to give people an insight to this ancient craft whilst showing some of the basic techniques to those who might be tempted to have a go themselves. In this video I'll be showing how to draw out a point on a mild steel bar and how to then shape it into decorative forms. So here we see my forge with a 14mm round bar gradually being brought up to a nice orange working temperature. And now we begin to draw it out over the beak of the anvil. This is done by striking the bar in the same position relative to the anvil and gradually bringing the bar towards you. Turning it 90 degrees and then repeating, bringing it towards you gradually, turning it 90 degrees. The idea is to form a square section to taper at the end of the bar. Here over the face of the anvil, I'm now evening out the tapered point into a nice square section taper. Heat's gone, so back to the fire. Now with the new heat, what we're doing here is now taking off the edges of the square section and rounding it off. Gradually rounding it and working out any unevenness and imperfections. And here's the result, a nice even round point. Of course it's much easier if you have one of these, it's certainly much easier on the arms anyway, but the process is the same. Gradually drawing out to a square taper over the rounded face of the power hammer's dies, back and forwards, and then over the square face just evening out the square taper until you get to the desired length. And as before, now we're taking off the edges, flattening off the edges of our square taper and making a rounded point. And just as the heat's going, we're working out any unevenness over the square face of the power hammer. And any last perfections or marks left by the power hammer are taken off over the anvil. And again, here's the rounded point. This is me working over the beak of the anvil to make what I call a swan neck scroll, which is bent over at the end and then bent back again on itself very carefully so as not to squash the first curve at the end. Then using a scrolling fork in the anvil to gradually bring the shape round. This is a good way because you can really see what's happening. You can keep control of the shape. New heat and keep on shaping it. The trick with this is to keep on looking at what you're doing. If you notice, I'm constantly turning it on its side to make sure the scroll is going how I want it. And there we have the finished form. Here are some examples of other shapes and forms you can make using a drawn out point. This serpentine shape is actually a curtain rail finial, as is this, a kind of shepherd's crook, and another variation. The great thing about these shapes is that they can be combined. Just playing around and putting shapes over one another, you can get at some wonderful effects. Here I'm showing where I would cut it where I'd cut one of the shapes and weld them together to make a very nice decorative effect. And here are some photos of some pieces I've made using this technique. For more information, please visit my website www.adamhayes.es. From here you can also find my Facebook and Twitter links.